Hi, how you doing? So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create interesting cloud art, and you can basically use any shape or any object to create some really fascinating stuff. So let's jump in and I'll show you how to do it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is select a shape that we can use for our cloud. So you want to look on Google and just look up clip art. That's what this is called. You can find lots of different things. This particular one that I downloaded had a white background, so all I'd done was come to the magic eraser tool, clicked on the background, and now that's given me a shape that I can work with. So I'm going to come up to the move tool, I'm going to click in the middle, I'm going to drag, pull it up to my picture, pull it in, let go, and just say yes, and there you go, there's our shape. I'm going to press Control or Command T to transform. I'm going to hold the Shift key down so I keep the proportions, and I can then just enlarge this and then position this wherever I want. So I'm going to put it about there and just press Enter. I'm then going to come up to the Layers panel and I'm just going to rename this. I'm going to call this Heart, just because we'll make a duplicate of this later and I want to know which one is the original. Once you've done that, you want to create a group, so press Control or Command G. Then I'm going to come up to the heart selection here, click on that and press Command and click, and that will give us our selection there. And then what we want to do is go to the group up here and then come down to the bottom and create a layer mask. And now we can hide this selection because we don't need it. So let's create a new empty layer, come down to the bottom here, and we're going to fill this with white. So just press Control or Command and backspace. So now what we need to do is we need to make a custom brush that is a shape of a cloud. So to do that, all you need to do is open up a picture of a cloud, and then what you want to do is come up to the lasso tool, and then we just want to draw around the cloud, and then press Control or Command J. We can click on the background layer there just to get rid of it. Then come up to the channels and you want to find the one that has the most contrast, so it's the red one. So I'm going to click and drag that down here to duplicate that, and now I'm going to come up to image adjustment and levels, and we want to basically make this background black and the cloud white, something like that. Press OK, and then use the lasso tool again to just make another selection around the cloud. And then we want to reverse the selection with Shift Control or Shift and Command I, and then we want to fill that with black, so the background there is black, so just press Shift or Command and then backspace, and that will fill it with black. And then what you can do is press Control Command D just to deselect that, and then come up to this cloud here and press the Command button and click, and that will make a selection for us. Come back to the layers and just press Control Command J to extract the cloud out of the background. You can see there we've got it there. So then we want to take the color away from that, so just press Shift and Command U, and then we want to invert this because we want it in black and not white, and you can do that with Control or Command I. So this is now ready to become a custom brush. So then let's come up to Edit and then Define Brush Preset, and we can call this Cloud 1. It's OK, and there we go, there's our brush. So let's go back to our main image and come up to our mask here, and if we zoom in, so press Control Command plus, you can change the size of this brush by pressing the brackets keys. You can see there it gets smaller. You can also change the size of the brush up here. Okay, so you can see that if we paint, if I bring the opacity up, you can see there what that's doing. So it's giving us little clouds. So there's a few things we can do to improve this brush, but to do that we can just come up to Window and just select Brushes, and it will bring up all our brushes there, and you just need to look for that brush. It's actually already selected, so you won't need to look for it, but here it is here, Cloud 1. That is the brush. So let's go to the brush settings and select shape dynamics. And from here, if we go back up to the brush tip shape, we can change the spacing, so we can push that up. We can make that bigger or smaller. And then shape dynamics, size jitter, we can push that all the way up to 100%. And the angle, we can push that up as well to around there. 39% is quite good. And then we want to scatter it a little bit as well, so around 43-44% is good. And let's come back to here, maybe just bring the spacing down there. That looks good. Okay, so now all we need to do is start painting around the edges. Now what we want to do is, as you can see, every time I click it's gonna change shape, but we also want to make these bigger and smaller. So you can do that by pressing the brackets keys, but we've done it so that it will automatically change shape and size. So then you just need to go around the edges. To make a mistake, just press Control Command Z, and that will undo the previous step. And you can switch to black if you make a mistake and you want to bring some of that shape back, then you can do that as well. If you click and hold, the brush will still change shape. You can see, change size rather. You can still see that it's doing that. So doing this step's quite good because you can really define the edges and get the shape that you want. Okay, so once you've done that, on the mask here, if you don't see this, you can just click on the mask here and you can just feather this a little bit. Just push that up to maybe about 1 pixel. That looks good. So now what we want to do is we want to add some clouds into this. So all we need to do is come down to the background here, press Control Command J just to duplicate it, and then just drag this up there. Press Control Command T to transform, and then we can start rotating and line it up. So you've obviously got artistic license to do this and get it perfect, and because we've selected the whole of the image, we've got a lot of scale to play with as well. So we can click on the sides here to move the scale. Now it's always a good idea to follow the direction of light. So like I've just done there, we can see the sun is actually coming from the back, so I'm mimicking the same so that it looks real. So once you've done that, you can just press enter, and that's given us a really good starting point to now make this look a little bit more three-dimensional. You can also move this if you want to as well. If you come up to the group here, you can click on the move tool, and then you can move this around. So you can actually move that around a little bit and position it to wherever you want it to be. So what we can now do is come down to the bottom, click on curves, and then push the middle up, and then come down to the bottom again, click on curves, and bring this down. So what we're going to do is press Control Command I on both of them, and that just inverts that selection. And we're going to use the paintbrush, and we're going to use the same brush, it's the cloud brush, to make our dodge and burn come through. So we want to make sure that the foreground color is set to white, and zoom in, and I'm going to drop the opacity down to about 8 or 9%. That gives us enough to work with then. So I'm going to start painting in now. So this is going to be the darker areas, as you can see, and I'm just going to take my time and just go over the areas that are dark, just to give it a little bit more depth and a little bit more contrast. So you can take your time with this and really get a good blend. That's it. So now we've done that part, let's click on the other curves, and then let's just do the same on the bright areas. So let's pick out where that light is naturally coming through. Okay, so once you've done that, it's now just a case of refining this a little bit more. So let's come down to the bottom and let's make a levels adjustment. I'm just going to bring that up to the top there, and I'm going to click on this tool here, which basically is a clipping mask, so it will only adjust this layer below. So I can now come to the blacks, the greys and the whites and just move these so that they look a little bit more natural, the actual clouds. So something like that. There we go. So that's how you do it. That's how you create these clouds that have these awesome shapes. Really, it's down to you and what shapes you want to use, how you use them. It can be really, really effective. So I look forward to seeing your images. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.